What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome back to another one of my videos. If you've even watched another one of my videos, you already know that I am a massive Cedar Point fan. Cedar Point is my favorite park out of over 20, and there are many reasons why. They have very captivating roller coasters, a very beautiful setting on the Great Lakes, and an overall really good environment. It truly is a roller coaster mecca. And this is all well known. But, did you know throughout the park, there are tiny little Easter eggs and secrets that they put for the guests to discover? Well, today I'm going to get into that. These are very hard to find things at Cedar Point and just outside of Cedar Point, and I really feel like these little secrets and Easter eggs make the park's experience even better. I absolutely adore when parks do this. Not just when they add attractions for everyone to go to, but when they add small little things on the side for people to discover. This video was mostly inspired off of OK Coaster's video on Dollywood. I absolutely love the concept of Easter eggs at parks, so let's get right into this Cedar Point video. This is Cedar Flags, and here are some Easter eggs and secrets about Cedar Point. Have you ever seen this view of Cedar Point? This view of Cedar Point is common in a lot of off-ride and cinematic videos of the park, and for years I always wondered where this viewpoint was. Well, the answer is a little park in downtown Sandusky called Battery Park. Battery Park has this really nice pier that leads out to Lake Erie, and when you get to the end, you can see Cedar Point in its full glory. It is truly one beautiful view, and you can see all of Sandusky Bay with the beautiful skyline of Cedar Point in the far distance, especially at night. I mean, this pier at night is a beautiful place to be. You just see the beautiful lights of the park shine onto Lake Erie, and it really is a gem to see. So we are going to go to Frontier Town, and yes, most of the secrets in this video are going to be located in the back frontier area of Cedar Point, but this first one happens to be very interesting for me. So if you've been in the back area of Cedar Point near Maverick and Steel Vengeance, especially in the queues, you will see a lot of posters and banners revealing that Steel Vengeance and Maverick are in a rivalry. Now, this is very common knowledge, a lot of people know this, but did you know the story goes much deeper than you thought? If you look in the Steel Vengeance queue, there will be explanations of all of this, plus there's even more lore on Cedar Point's website, and following all of these banners and all of these posters, there is a massive story behind the legend of Frontier Town. If you want to see a very good explanation of this, go to this video by Theme Park Media. I think he sums everything up very well. I think the best part of this story is that, depending on what you look at and what you read, you might not put all the pieces together and come up with your own different timeline. This next Easter egg is something small, but I think is absolutely adorable. When you're walking under the tunnels of Millennium Force to go through the Frontier Trail, if you're going towards the north end of the park near Frontier Town, you will see a little outhouse on the left. Now, this just looks like a normal old decoration, and this is fairly new, so I just passed it the first few times, but if your curiosity gets the best of you and pulls the door of the outhouse, oh yeah, something like, hey, get out of here, or hey, I'm in here, or hey, come back next time. I think this is just a really cute add-on to the park, plus it could be very funny. Up next, we are going to be talking about Maverick's queue and station. Now, the station is brand new for Maverick, but let's talk about the queue. You might realize that the queue is extremely intricate and has a lot of different elements to it. But did you know this is actually a reused structure? This actually originally was the station for their old Aero Hydro Flume Whitewater Landing, and there are many different indications of that. One of them is the water. Now, you look at the water below, and if you look at old pictures, it actually used to rotate just like an Aero Hydro Flume does. Above Maverick's gift shop, you could see a text that says, Whitewater Landing. I think it's really cool that they kept this, and I really hope this is there for years to come. For one more extra added fact, there are a lot of little theming elements around the ride, and a lot of these were based around Whitewater Landing, and Cedar Point decided to conserve these and keep them for the theming of Maverick. I think it's a very good fit, and I'm glad Cedar Point implemented this. In school, many of us learned about Helen Keller. Helen Keller is mostly known for having the disability of being both blind and deaf her entire life, and taking advantage of that and becoming a big activist when it comes to ableism and politics. She was very famous in her time and still is very famous with her legacy. But did you know she actually went to Cedar Point in the 1920s? And there's actually a landmark to commemorate her. If you're at the boardwalk area of Cedar Point by Windseeker and the boardwalk entrance, if you look closely, there is actually a plaque dedicated to Helen Keller. It will tell you a little bit of her visit to Cedar Point, talking about rights of ableism, and talking about the group that she was with. Up next, we go back to Frontier Town. Now, have you ever been on Skyhawk, the massive S&S Scream and Swing? But did you know it used to be home to something else? Have you seen the building next to Skyhawk? It has a very weird structure and definitely looks like it was something else in the past. Did you know this used to be a station for another ride? They've definitely conserved it very well, and you could tell that it has some sort of history. It used to be a part of the Frontier lift. It was very similar to the lift on the front midway of the park, just the sky lift with the gondolas, but did you know Cedar Point used to have a second one? The original station went from where Dragster Station is today, through the Cedar Point swamp and to the end of Frontier Town, where the restrooms currently stand. Another really cool secret is not located in Frontier Town, but instead the front of the park near Kitty Kingdom and Planet Snoopy. This is Melt Bar and Grill. Now, if you don't know or don't live in the Cleveland area, Melt is a restaurant chain, and there are restaurant locations all over northern Ohio. But this Melt, well, it's definitely special. If you go into the Melt restaurant, you will find a bunch of old memorabilia from Cedar Point's past. For some reason, they dedicated this restaurant a lot to Cedar Point's past. Once you go into the restaurant and look to your right, you will see a massive mural of old ride logos, some ride logos that haven't even existed for years. It's a very interesting mural, and honestly, I could look at this for hours. It has a bunch of different ride logos and roller coaster logos, some that currently exist and some don't, and I really think it's very fascinating. If you look further into the restaurant, you will see other old park memorabilia that used to be a part of the park, like old blueprints for amusement park rides, and "You must be this tall" signs for old defunct attractions or just outdated signs. I think this is a really good fit, and if you're a history buff, I think this is definitely a really good part of the park to check out. When people bring up the best coaster manufacturers and designers in the world, some people might mention Ron Tumor of Aerodynamics. He is responsible for some of Cedar Point's attractions, including the record breakers Gemini and Magnum XL 200. Both were the tallest coasters in the world by drop height at the time of their opening. These roller coasters are really big historic landmarks, and to dedicate that, they set up a massive plaque for Ron Tumor right in front of Gemini. Very similar to the Helen Keller one, but this one is a lot more formal. This one is hidden in the Gemini midway, and you really have to look close to see it, but due to his passing, they erected this small memorial for him, talking about his life and his dedication at Cedar Point. I think this is a really good add-on, and I think it's a really good and fitting tribute to the coaster legend himself. The final secret I want to talk about takes place at BackBeatQ. One of the newer restaurants at Cedar Point, this restaurant is very detailed, and while ordering your amazing barbecued food, you might miss out on some little Easter eggs. As you know, Cleveland is the birthplace of rock and roll, and is also home to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So at Cedar Point, they dedicated this with a restaurant. Now, if you look closely on the walls, there is actually every single band and rock and roll artist that has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thus far. You have to look a little closely, and at a general sight, you might see a few 80s and 70s artists, but did you know that all of these artists were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I think this is a really cool fact, and I think it's a very dedicating tribute to some of these amazing rock legends. You just have to look very close to see them. Anyway, that is my video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. I know some of these secrets might not be very secret to some, but to others, trust me, they might have seen this not coming whatsoever. Anyway, what are some more secrets you know about the park? I might go into some weird facts about Cedar Point's past eventually, but for now, I wanted to get through this video because I thought it was a very interesting topic. Anyway, this is Cedar Flags, and I'll see you all later.